A polar bear chased several residents around a town in Alaska, killing a mother and her 1-year-old son before being fatally shot by a community member.
But global warming, if you have any thought that it's not real, come to our region. It absolutely is, and the changes in climate are affecting wildlife.
A polar bear on the prowl for a quick meal lurks in an Alaskan elementary school. One of the most tragic animal attacks ever recorded happens when a young mother strolling with her infant unintentionally crosses its path. This is ultimate misfortune. Even though Alaska is home to thousands of polar bears, human attacks are extremely rare. As the top predators, polar bears hunt seals, baby walruses, and occasionally even narwhals and beluga whales. However, sometimes they wander into nearby towns in quest of food. In January 2023, tragedy struck in the little village of Wales, which is situated on the Seward Peninsula on Alaska's western coast. The roughly 150 residents of this tight-knit community were going about their everyday business. Overlooking the Bering Strait, the village is the westernmost on the continental United States of America. The little community has a rich cultural history. Situated amidst a tundra of ice and snow, this settlement is among the most remote in all of America. For the past few days, the weather had been appalling. Whiteout conditions resulted from strong winds whipping up groundling snow. Wales people were accustomed to this. It was usual for supplies to run low before planes arrived to replenish them. There was a time when the whole town ran out of toilet paper and was without a helicopter or plane for 6 weeks. This was part of the experience living here, along with the challenging circumstances and the enchanted beauty of the largely unspoiled wilderness that begs for exploration and adventure. Mother, Summer Myomick, 24, a well-liked person in the neighborhood, was enduring the weather. It was January 17th, 2:30 in the afternoon, and she was strolling with her 1-year-old son, Clyde. Between the medical clinic and the small school, the two were enjoying being outside. Nothing about the day was out of the ordinary. Summer's route was an ordinary one. But there was a predator, the top predator in the food chain, camouflaged against the stark white background. It was trying to find food. With paws measuring 12 inches or 30 centimeters in diameter and 2-inch claws, it strode towards the village while maintaining a firm gait on the ground.
Now, at one point, a school nearby was even placed on lockdown as it appeared the polar bear was trying to get into that school.
Even through this tragedy, just to see everybody come together and to support each other, it's horrific.
The low light prevented us from seeing its lumbering gait. With each step, it was getting closer to the village. The large polar bear paused, lifted its head, and took a quick sniff at the atmosphere. It had been drawn toward the village by its acute sense of smell. Maybe it drifted inland due to the smell of garbage in the air, or maybe it was drawn in by the smell of food or people. Polar bears have a keen sense of smell. They can identify a seal from a mile away, even when it's covered in 3 feet of snow. It is nearly hard to hide from them. You cannot outrun them, even if you could sprint up to 25 miles per hour. You are unable to repel them as they can stand up to 3 meters on their hind legs. They are very strong predators. Summer heard a disturbance a short distance from the Wales King School gates. The village had been invaded by the bear. Shouts were heard as frightened residents hurried to find shelter in a house, a store, or a car. Summer had no idea that the polar bear was going on a rampage. It thundered through the streets, chasing people. It was on the hunt and ravenous. It bolted for it when it saw an easy meal. Its massive, formidable body bolted toward the gullible citizen. However, Summer had nowhere to run or hide as she was just passing by the school. She was seen by the polar bear outside the school gates. It came running toward her, slowly at first, then faster. Its gaze was fixed on the infant and the young mother. It charged in for the kill, fearless and formidable. Kids inside the school grounds started screaming in a moment of sheer terror and panic. The bear was approaching them, menacing and ready for an attack. It jumped on Summer and sent her tumbling to the ground. Nothing that she or young Clyde could have done was possible. The two were mismatched in time and location. A bear weighing 1,500 pounds or 700 kilograms was too much for them. The school's teachers hurried outside. They'd heard Summer and her boys' cries, their students' terrified screams, and the commotion. The teachers snatched up the kids and hurried them inside as the polar bear attacked. However, the bear noticed them. It was hungry for more after making a kill. It attempted to break through the school's doors by running at them. Don Hendrickson, the head teacher, bolted the school from inside by slamming the door shut. The door was pounded by the polar bear's strong front paws.
Family have their privacy, but they were members of the community, and she was simply going about her daily activities.
This first attack, again, it is the first fatal mauling there in Alaska in 30 some odd years, but are there extra precautions that are going to be taken?
Would the door support its weight, or would it give way, letting the bear inside to terrorize the students? All of them held their breath, afraid to move or make a sound. As their teachers did their best to keep them quiet, the little children's faces were a picture of terror, their eyes wide open and their hearts in their mouth. Employees secured the school and kept quiet, listening and waiting, holding out hope after hope that the door would stay open and the bear would leave them alone. The windows were blinded so that neither the bear nor anyone could see in or out. They succeeded in alerting the locals to the bear's whereabouts. Staff and students heard the crack of a loud gunshot coming from outside a short while later. The polar bear was slumped on the ground outside the school gates, and they could see it by peeking through the window blinds. It lay still and unmoving. It had passed away. Whales had been unreachable due to the extreme weather conditions. Whiteout conditions had been brought on by strong winds and blizzards. There were no lights on the gravel runway. Up to 6 small planes land on the gravel every day in good weather. But this is a precarious link to the outside world. In inclement weather, it is frequently cut. Help was only a day away this time. The following day, state troopers showed up at the scene. Summer's attack serves as a chilling reminder of how fleeting life is. Her life had been horribly torn away from her and her small son. The people had lived in peace and safety for over 30 years prior to that point. Sightings of polar bears within the village are uncommon, and attacks even more so, despite the village's proximity to the Arctic Circle. Susan Zah, the chief school administrator for the district, said the community was suffering from incapacitating grief. Summer was a beloved young woman who was kind and sweet, as well as a loving mother. The school remained open as a haven for people trying to process what had happened on its doorstep, even though classes were suspended for the remainder of the week. The school brought people together during a time of loss by feeding the needy and offering counseling. The attack startled and surprised Jeff York, senior director of conservation at Polar Bears International. He said that the bear must have been desperate to chase several people when questioned about the bear's actions.
And it didn't, and actually turned on those people that were hitting it with shovels and chased them as they ran into the front door of the school to find protection for themselves. The folks that were there and actually out there, and it's just unreal, and there's no capacity to understand it at this point.
It was not an opportunistic attack. Its purpose in the village was to kill, and it would not give up until it succeeded. Despite the fact that a warming climate has replaced the ice immediately north and south of Wales with water, there is still plenty of ice nearby for bears to hunt on. Polar bears almost never venture far from their usual hunting area in search of food. It is not logical. However, attacks are increasing as polar bears hunt on land due to decreasing sea ice and increased human activity in the Arctic. In Wales, locals created a polar bear patrol program to ensure the safety of their citizens. Unfortunately, funding for this was insufficient, and as a result, the mother and her 1-year-old son met their untimely and tragic end. Thanks for taking the time to watch our video. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, share the channel, and click the bell to get notifications. Tell us your thought in the comments below. Thank you for watching Ultimate Misfortune.